to unfamiliar maps to them. I think Nova XQF are feeling good. They were having some good games towards the end, and it feels like they've solidified their roster now with Paraboy, Jimmy, Order, and King.
We are up into the skies. Game 1 is underway, Blank. The plane path from Stalba down to the western edge of Sosnovka military base. And already we've got players dropping out. That's the Abrupt Slayers already out over Kamishki.
So ready to drop on into this map, and God, John, you got to be excited for this one. Like the boys in the death saying, it's technically quite a short form tournament here, so you really have to blast out nice and early. We got some cool graphics on the screen here. You get to see all the players and whereabouts they will be landing with their logos on board too. 4 AM looking to be dropping out, trying to take control of Yasnaya. We saw them have a lot more success once they started to do that a bit more. Bit curious why they didn't go to that usual spot in the league stage for a little while, but they seem to be comfortably back in this area, knowing that it is their own.
And of course, all of these teams will have had a lot of time to revise, right? To
yes.
get their prep in. You know, they're gunning for those top grades here. So, are we going to see any adaptations? It looks like things are sort of settling back into the way of how we saw it happen in those league stages, but we'll have to wait and see just where everyone does drop. Looks like Airwolf Limax footballers heading to that military island, Class Digital Athletics heading out a little bit to the west of that western bridge onto the main island.
Yeah, honestly, it feels like most teams have a general spot that they would like to take control of. Sosnovka, very standard. You've got footballers over in Nova, Airwolf dropping directly onto the military base itself, RQ taking control over here in Pachinki. So, day 1, match 1, the final begins here. And it will end in 4 days, and we will crown a victor.
There we go. RRQ, they've dropped down right into the middle of things. 4 AM over in Yasnaya.
So RRQ, like you say, just playing it chill for the time being. 4 AM obviously over in that Yasnaya position. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for them to actually make it into the circle here. They will have to battering ram their way through a fair few teams coming into this one. Secret Jin and Team Secret, the sister teams here. Obviously Secret Jin taking a little bit more precedent here than Team Secret proper. They managed to take that 6th place in the league stage, doing fantastically well towards the end. Abrupt Slayers, a little bit more off the radar, and they're playing it chilled out down towards Gatka, hiding out in the fields. They had some better games towards the end. We were talking with Leon, in fact, asking him, well, what needs to be changed here? And he was saying, look, we just need to be a bit more aggressive. Once we get the momentum on board, things are fine. Look, you only have 4 days here. You don't have 4 weeks to try and get something going. The engine needs to be started. It needs to be started now.
Absolutely. Na'Vi, they dropped out early. They grabbed vehicles. They like to drop into North George. That's their stomping ground, as it has been over the last couple of months, certainly. They're going to be able to split there, and with the circle the way it is, they'll be okay. They should think about where they're going to be rotating, most likely to the compound in the foothills of Everest, just on the eastern edge, on that northern side. They're probably going to be looking to control that sort of area of the map moving forwards. It just depends on how fast they can loot, and will someone get there first?
Like you say, that part of the map, extremely important in terms of scouting potential and just purely positional advantage, right? It gives you so much availability of cover and able to get out of a fight very quickly, because you can quickly put a block between yourselves.
Looks like Gonzo might be in a spot of bother right now. Wow. Sat outside right next to Zeus. Have they spotted him? I'm not entirely sure they have just yet.
He's in an odd spot, that's for sure. I mean, Gonzo has been one of the major players from Canina Power.
Ooh, he's just biding his time. The rest of his squad not quite nearby. I think they've spotted out certainly another team. I'm not sure which team. I think they might be looking at Bigatron there, just to the southwestern side of them. They're currently holed up just to the southwestern edge. Oh no, he's caught ably. Will get the knock, will get the knock. Goes for Icy, gets 2. Looks for another one, hits the drop shot. Godless, you need to find it. Finally able to shut him down, but at the cost of a player, at the cost of a knock. It is first blood drawn. Goes over to Canina Power, but it's echoed by Zeus.
Goodness me. You thought there was a moment there where Gonzo gets the 3rd. Godless was completely disorientated in that moment. Walking forward, was like, what's happening? My team's dying around me. And it was just one singular player in Gonzo. This guy has some absolute chops on the guy. The rest of Canina Power, however, they weren't with him. The IGL of the team now takes a back seat and can now almost pull out the puppet strings and see where the rest of the team would like to go going forward. But right now, they will have to slip underneath Bigatron, not a team that you really want to trifle with too early on the game, especially with only 3 players remaining.
RRQ, they've exited Pachinki and they're scoping out towards Alpha 7, or a little bit further west of them in the hills, around that central settlement of the map that we all know and love. A couple of shots being popped off. I think that might be towards Clash Diddle Athletics at that range, all the way down on that southwestern side. Yet to cross the bridge from that military island, got Airwolf, Limax, Footballist as well, all the way over in Novo. So they're going to have to make a move pretty soon. Otherwise, they will be crunched in by that circle. That's Nova XQF actually being spotted out by RRQ there. Paraboy takes a knee. King sailing in across the fields. Tries to pop the sail, get there a little bit faster, but just... oh, dear.
He's like, Paraboy, you may think I'm coming to pick you up. I am, in fact, just saying goodbye.
He might be trying to get another off angle to suppress fire and get the rest of the team back in, so... dropping the smoke down on Paraboy. They do have a little bit of time to play with. It's first knock. He'll be okay for now.
Yeah. Also, because it's the first circle, a lot of teams actually have to rotate through one another to get to this place, which gives ample time for Nova XQF to try and do something about the situation. It is unfortunately fairly dire, and most likely not going to come to bear. Jimmy takes one shot from the DP, but he is now engaging the rest. Oh, Jimmy. Oh.
Looks to get him up. I think he's going to be able to stick it. They're both alive, but for how much longer? Suppression continues to come through from RRQ. More smokes being dropped to try and keep them safe. They have a UAS to use as cover. They could potentially just drop that down, and another player from Nova XQF into the rescue. They grab them all and get away, but will they be able to make it for the hills? G9 not going to be spraying down the UAS this time. With a little bit less pride, Nova XQF survive all four of them.
Well, I know. I mean, they've surprisingly got away with that one. Nova XQF performed a bit of a saving private Paraboy there. We're able to get him out, some beautiful smokes. And honestly, I think the majority of that play came through from King. That off angle provided a lot of time, forced G9 into a bit of an awkward position, which meant that he was shooting the DP from quite a large range. Sends in Jimmy. G9 can't peek out too wide for fear of King within the forests, and they're able to make it happen. And now they have a very central position within the circle and a nice compound that they scouted out earlier, which Order is currently holding down.
Regrouped back into the midst of it. Footballists, they're making their cross. They move to the western bridge to contest, actually, with Aerowolf Limax on the opposite side. Pepper potting their way up, Solkate as the vanguard to try and get across here. Teammate coming to back him up there in the form of Rome. Trying to scope out those off angles. Aerowolf Limax, the question for them is, do they want to stay and try and guard this, or do they want to push further in, try and get themselves some more real estate into these later circles?
You know, what usually happens for Aerowolf Limax is they kind of just flood out a tiny little bit outside of the bridge here, try and maintain some control towards the southern side, and then just wait it out for quite a long time. And to be honest with you, that worked out for Aerowolf Limax towards the end of the league stage. But that was all about survival. That was all about making it into the finals itself. They had to put up some decent numbers to get in there. I believe it was like 40 points a day. They needed to, 40 points a game, sorry, they need to hit on that last 3 matches to make it in. They made it quite handily. It was an astonishing performance, but they played very, very safe. They're probably not going to be afforded that same kind of safety here in this lobby with 16 teams that are all hungry for this. Wow, that's a lot of viewers, guys. We have already surpassed.
Wow. We've already jumped over that 1 million mark. Almost 3 million there.
I think it was 1.1 million for the World League, actually.
Oh, I don't
that
think
we hit the concurrent on. So
I'd have to go back
past that. We'll check that later. But that's incredible, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate every single one of you.
Brilliant stuff, and so early into the tournament. Beautiful. Next circle pops in honor of that surpassing mark there, and it's going to shift down south. This is actually a pretty tricky circle because most of it is cut off. Military Island has some land, but it's most likely going to leave.
Yeah, it would be absolutely mental if we went back down to Sosnovka military base. So we're most likely not going to see that. So teams trying to take up position, but it does give time for footballers to just kind of hang around on this bridge. No one's going to be coming back over to Sosnovka military base. That would be ridiculous. So footballers can kind of just watch the action unfold as we see Zuxi take some shots down towards RRQ, who are on the low ground right now. Zuxi heads to the other side, tries to apply a bit more pressure. Ernie takes another clip there.
Origami Master Zuxi unfolds things how he likes. What's the opposite of origami? I'm not entirely sure, but it's certainly going on right now. Nade over into the smoke.
That's ruining a good swan, that is.
Guard over to RRQ on the position, who moved south to try and get on the edge of that bridge. But Footballista yet to cross. Airwolf Limax waiting in the wings. It's a very tricky spot for these players.
Yeah, but Na'Vi, I like this rotation. You can't see it on your screens right now, but they've headed down on the western side, leapfrog down over the yellows, all the way on the coast. And they're going to come in down towards Quarry, behind 4AM, behind Digital Athletics. And this is something that we saw them do a lot. We wanted them to stop taking fights so early in the game as it proved fatal for them later on. Now they have 4 players remaining, 10 minutes 48 into the match. This is good.
The issue for them will be Quarry as a feature in the terrain, right? They have to either go south or north of it. It's going to be very difficult to move past it. The benefit they have, of course, though, is that the plane path started northeast, ended a little bit far away from that western edge, which means it's unlikely that there are going to be a lot of teams in this sort of area of the map. So it's a nice little spot for them. It's difficult terrain to manage, but hopefully they'll be able to get a little bit of respite for it.
It is smart, like you say, especially with the plane pass we saw early. They have just swung all the way over the anti-clockwise terrain here to make it down, so they can be pretty comfortable, just like footballers currently are hiding out on the bridge. But you would imagine that Aerowolf, RQ would know of their presence at this point. They're far too busy with the other teams that are surrounding them within this circle. We've got Abrupt Slayers on our screen right now, just holding down a compound. They have a fair few vehicles for themselves, 4 in total, with all wheels still on board, keeping them very safe behind this building for the time being.
Everyone now moved central. They've made that shift. Only 2 casualties so far, almost 12 minutes into this first game blank, and that was that initial combat between Gonzo in the compound with Zeus.
Yes.
Able to strike out towards the gods. But
with Gonzo himself.
He's Gonzo, mate.
He is Gonzo. He took a couple down with him, though. Fantastic stuff from him.
A little bit of damage, but will they be paying the price here for it, right? Because they're on the eastern side. They might find it tricky to move on through. Zeus at the moment still being guarded out. Kanina Power. They've moved somewhere.
They're up top.
They've gone for a big rotation.
They actually haven't gone for a massive rotation. They've come from Milta towards Pachinki and just headed down from school side. I don't mind this too much, mainly they've come this way because of the hills that are available to them. Next circle pops. Head pretty hard down to the southwest here towards Quarry, that feature you mentioned early. And Nova XUF, they are on the move. They'll be crashing directly into Class Digital Athletics.
Okay, it looks like Ray-Z gets first strike, but the bullets are thick and fast, back straight at him. Jimmy behind the corner, low HP,
Silas.
One knock traded off. Selim on the off angle, Solus, Silas, all moving in. Beautifully orchestrated for Class Digital Athletics right now, as 2 players from Nova XQF have dropped. For the cost of 1, Ray-Z low, down on bended knee. Selim up into the window to go for the res. Jimmy getting flushed. 3 players from Nova XQF are down. Only 1 remains. And it's unlikely that they're going to be able to get the res here.
It is a wild crash here, but you can understand why Nova XQF did it. They had to get into position. Unfortunately for them, Clans Digital Athletics are already here with the 3 players with S's in their name, and it's a triple S performance from them to hold down this compound. And now King has to leave. Can King Cobra start to snake it out later on this game? We'll find out if Silas can hit these shots.
Oh, the spray, half HP for King. Reload comes through. The rest of Class Digital Athletics continue. The suppression, and there's so few ways for him to be able to get away from this. It's disaster for King, but he is still alive. We'll see how much further they can go. The circle with the shift southwest. Na'Vi circle, anyone? Let's take a look up at the northeastern edge. At the moment, you've got Alpha 7, you've got Team Secret, you've got Zeus, Kanina Power, all moving.
Yeah, Bigatron also have to come through. They know the position of RRQ. Footballers have made their way across the bridge now. This is important for them. There's a fight currently going down. Airwolf and Power 888. This is the wall that Power 888 need to bust through at the moment if they want to make their way into this circle.
Oh. Gooey goes down there to a spray. Close up is Corpai as well, who's on bended knee. TTT will fall, and now it's just ice left in the back lines for Power 888. Reduced to 1, and I have to try and strike out further. Them and Nova XQF now on their last legs.
Potato on the prowl. TTT sure to go down. Ice in the background just wants to make this one through. You mentioned Na'Vi. What a godly position they have on the coastal side All they have to do now is worry about the 180 to the north. This is probably what's going to be the most worrisome for them going forward. They have a really nice position, and it's open ground coming into their terrain. They're really, really looking towards this next circle to decide what they want to do next. Super Una, grenade in hand, A1. You want to be terrified of one like that.
Oh, is it going to find any damage? Not quite. Suppressing them, actually pushing them forwards a little bit closer to Super Una's spot. And the northeastern edge, there was a big conflict between Team Secret and Alpha 7 that Alpha 7 categorically came out the victors of. One player now remaining for Team Secret. That's on that northeastern edge. Mad Toy survives. Circle pops, and it goes pretty central.
Does go pretty central right now. Na'Vi can be safe. They pretty much got directly a loot box on their heads. But the main point of contention is up towards the northern side. King currently in his warehouse, and about 5 other teams in this area all vying for position. But the eastern push is going to be gross watching it going forward. Canadian Power rushing their way through the roadside whilst all these teams are locked in combat currently.
4 angry men have just spread out on this western edge and just chilling right now. One of their players is knocked, but they should be able to get the res. They are completely open for business right now. Ooh, Potato takes a little bit of damage.
Ooh.
Some knocks coming through over to Canadian Power. Remember, they've lost a player early, so it's just AXA remaining, looking for the res onto Black-White. Frozen's low and bleeding out. Canadian Power, they're on the southern edge. They're in the circle, but with only the shack to protect them, it's not the best of spots.
I believe that was a bit of martyrdom there, actually, with the nade dropped to the floor as one of the players died within the shack itself. So pretty unfortunate for Canadian Power. It's not how you want to go down. Frozen also took a beating once he hit the floor.
Oh dear.
You imagine Canadian Power going down to the one. That's Realm. Been popped out the vehicle by Ice. Last remaining member of Power 888 just trying to make his way in. Does, in fact, have a vehicle to make this happen too.
Takes a player out of Footballist, removes a little bit of strength from the competition, will need to try and sneak through the gaps moving forwards. It's zone 4, which means the zone is survivable, but as a solo player on this eastern edge, is looking pretty shaky right now. You can see him skirting around the edge of this fight. Aerowolf maybe looking to spot him, trying to blend in with Footballist. He took down a player of Footballist, and he's like, I'm in Footballist now?
I am Footballist?
I am a Footballist player. Oh dear, that's Mad Toy being eliminated, and with it, the first team of the PMGC finals goes down. Team Secret, not so lucky on the northern side. Alpha 7, nail in the coffin.
Secret Gen, however, keep paying it forward over on this northwest side. Praise be Mustache Dave, because 4AM are big chilling over to the west. Keeping it nice and easy. We've got Hasaki as well as Svan, some absolute massive players when it comes to long-range weapons. Up on the top of Quarry, looking down onto these players. Ice finally goes down. It was a desperate attempt to get towards the middle of the field and try and get this game a little bit further for Power AAA, but it's not meant to be.
Bigatron have spotted out Footballist atop the hill. They're stood in their way, and they don't really want to be in those sites. Solka, you can see him low down the hill. Lutz trying to look for that res. The heals need to come through as well. Na'Vi are just vibing right now. They're the same, big chillin' on the western edge. They have that compound. It's nice and strong. It's actually not too hard to leave. The road cross should be okay for them if they need to move further north.
I mean, they got next day delivery on that loot box as well, which basically drops on top of their compound. So a couple of those players have got a nasty weapon and some pretty jacked up supplies. Hopefully Max playing it very slow at the moment. They know that A1's in their way currently. They do not want to lose a lot of players. They perform best when they have a lot of players remaining at the end of the game. Alpha 7 taking shots towards Zeus. Zyol over on that side taking a fair few shots of his own. At the moment, with the way the terrain is currently looking, where there are some dips all over the place, most teams aren't taking too many fights.
A1, 2 players remaining for them. Parallel rotation to Aerowolf Limax. They've been locked in combat for quite a while now. The circle shift comes through. It's right on top of Na'Vi's compound, so they're looking happy. RRQ going back and forth with Bigatron as well. And all of this on the southeastern side. You said this eastern thing would get messy.
It's going to get messy here. Super Una looking to toss the grenade. Aerowolf Limax, they have to move now. They are the furthest away from the circle itself with A1. That's 6-9 down.
Oh, first fall, and Jax in the grass looking to spray. Halv will get taken low, but that's it. A1 are done and dusted, but a long road ahead for Aerowolf Limax.
I love that, though, from the Wolves themselves. They pull the trigger on that fight. They know they need to go. They can't hang around any longer. But Na'Vi in a great spot. King Cobra makes his way across the roadside underneath Na'Vi, using them essentially as bodyguards. If I'm 4AM, I'm looking at some point, some way to try and keep an eye on this compound, but that is now King out from Nova XUF in 12th.
Na'Vi, they've got the strong compound. Four Angry Men, they've got the western side of this hill ridgeline, which means that they are waiting for everybody to push their way. These two teams, absolute powerhouses in this circle.
D2E, I believe he actually was the one to spot out King. He'd already had the idea that King had. I was like, no, actually I came up with this first.
Footballists, they are a little bit down, but certainly not out. Solkay has been knocked. But Lutz continues to put the pressure. Aerowolf Limax, this is the difficult road they had to tread in the middle of the circle. Spalv goes down, and they will be looking to push in with Potato. Kanine and Power as well. They were struggling earlier on. They get peppered in the shack that they had, and now it's just Black-White remaining. Out in the blue as well, getting pushed on in its zone 5, so it will start to hurt.
Yeah, you start to hear the percussion of the battlefield as we come to a crescendo here in the circles. Most teams having to push into this one. Abrupt Slayers finally move away from that compound that kept them covered on the west side from the ridge. They will have to move their way in. Secret Jin taking a little bit of a nasty fight of their own between Alpha 7 and themselves. Lutz goes down, Lovazin last remaining, and Class Digital Athletics making their way in. This is a team that we need to talk about. They have been on top for so long for the EMEA region. They've really made a fantastic showing in the league stage. They're paying it forward.
Finally going down there. Alpha 7 as well, they're taking the fight. They've been dominant on this northern edge right now, but Team Secret Jin giving them a little bit of a run for their money. Na'Vi continue to put the pressure out in all directions.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, Class Digital Athletics are able to just bump on down anybody trying to step in. That's the Abrupt Slayers falling. On the northern side, Alpha 7 survive, but they're down to one standing. 2 players knocked. Very difficult to move on in.
G9 making his way into the circle itself. That's Old Boy. Taking shots over towards G9. He will, in fact, go down. But RRQ, they've got insurgents absolutely everywhere on this map towards the south. Off to the east now in Beer 11. Circle finally moves away from Na'Vi, and they have to start to consider how they want to make this one go forward. But 4 AM, they loom off in the distance.
Goodness me, they've stayed completely quiet for most of this game blank. No one has really actually encroached into any of their territory. And finally, D2E steps up and looks to Tixie, sprays him down on the roof. Na'Vi down to 3, reducing their power somewhat. Moving forwards, RRQ, 2 players alive. 4 Angry Men, all 4 of them still standing. And Footballist, they've managed to sneak on in right to the middle, top 5.
I mean, it's not bad. I mean, for RRQ, they've been under pressure this entire game, sending Beer 11 and D2E out wide. It's an excellent idea, in fact. I really, really like it. It means that they have a good chance to at least make it into the top 4. Na'Vi, like you said, though, with their power now slightly dwindled by the fact they just lost Tixie, going against 4 AM is looking a lot less unlikely.
4 Angry Men looking most likely to take this one home here, Blank. 88%, that's a lot of numbers. D2E will get knocked on the attempted cross there and will fall down. Lovazin has been spotted by Hasaki. And at range, we know what a monster this guy is. D2E flushed on out, just Beer 11 now standing for RRQ. 5 teams remain. How long will Lovazin last under the pressure from 4 Angry Men from Class Digital Athletics as well?
You gotta love this from 4 AM, the way they're just moving up nice and slow. That is a sliver of the body that was so easily hit by 4 AM.
But 2 players go down in turn, and that's really going to take the wind out their sails on this northern edge. Gives Na'Vi a chance to regroup.
This is okay for 4 AM, though. They have time over here. They have the vehicles available to them as well. And Digital Athletics, their broadside is completely open to Na'Vi.
Class Digital Athletics, oh, they're getting knocked quite a few times. That's Na'Vi doing so much damage, they were able to take it down.
That's 9 kills on the board for Na'Vi already. What a way to start the tournament. And Lovazin is now out.
There we go. It is Na'Vi and 4 Angry Men, last 2 teams. We saw the positions they had. They've managed to use them here. It's 3 versus 3.
Great position here from Matic, which is still within the circle, but they need to really take advantage of this position whilst they still have it, because it's very unlikely you're going to get... it has to be the hardest shift down to the south if Na'Vi want to hold on to any of these buildings. They have to cross the road. 4AM with so many vehicles available to them, they've got a compound of their own over here. And look at that circle. It is right on top of 4AM.
But 4AM, they didn't have the info. They were shooting in completely the wrong direction, and this could prove vital for Na'Vi's efforts. Oh boy, up close and personal. Needs to find a little bit of cover as Sook up the hill. Over the top, trying to jump around the smoke, get a little bit of info. Nades, back and forth. Matic still on the overwatch, not going in with the team. A little bit of a dud bobble there on the nade as Meku shimmies out wide. They managed to get in the circle with Old Boy.
Our smokes are down, and this is more for denying vision towards 4AM. Very smart stuff coming through from Na'Vi. And like you said, John, they took that opportunity, and they just ran with it. Na'Vi can be an aggressive team when they absolutely want to. I mean, they tried to be the entirety of the first 3 weeks of the tournament, so this is kind of like second nature to them.
Matic's making the push on foot across the road now, Blank. This is what the smokes were in aid of, drawing that attention away. And now Matic has a cheeky little off angle, no vehicle noise, and will get that loot crate as well.
This is so good. These mollies are targeting exactly on the trees.
Oh, look at that. That's the first knock. It's now down to a 3 versus 3. Sorry, there were 4 players from 4 Angry Men still alive in the midst of things. Meku up top, nade over his way, but it's only 98. Sook, a lot of damage sent his way. Oh boy, not quite able to get that full knock just yet. Pushes up the hill. Svan down in the grass. They know where he is. They're trying to laser beam on. Sook suppress. Needs to heal a bit. Matic nade over the top to the back of Svan. Sook pressure towards the rest of the squad.
Matic.
He's been spotted. And a little bit of respite as Haseki goes for that res. Over onto Shinhe.
Oh dear, this is not looking good for Na'Vi. That little bit of advantage that they had accrued early has been completely taken away. Some good knocks coming through from 4AM, or at least some good damage, sorry, which has held Na'Vi at bay. And you wonder how much utility they have remaining.
Oh, that's a knock. That's a nasty knock as well for Na'Vi. They're down to 2, and that's their off angle taken out of the mix. It's definitely just these 2 players now.
Things are so much more linear here for 4AM going forward. Pasaki goes down. Okay. 3v2, Old Boy next, and now just 1 player remains.
Meku up the top. You said he was doing a lot of work for the squad, and now he needs to put it all on the line. 2 players in action right now, and this res will bring all 4 back for 4 Angry Men. The western edge was dominated by them in this circle. It moved their way, and now they're looking to put that final nail in the coffin. Sook sprays down towards Meku. The bullets start to land, but he's yet to go down, and finally they make it happen. 4 Angry Men take the chicken dinner.
Svan with the 3 fantastic stuff there, John.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff at the end there. 4 Angry Men take the first chicken dinner of the PMGC finals. Excellent work from them. They played it cool, they played it calm, and they were able to take it home. Let's head back over to the analysts.
Well, honestly, I don't think